It is game 2 of the night for Groove of War 2. I say welcome to the Force because we have a green finger matchup here between Finessin and Wolf of War, Thomas, on your screen as a spectator. I'm Gavin, and I'm joined by Doc and Zero Nix, my extremely talented and handsome desk. I assume the second part, not the first part. How are both of you doing?
Great, thanks.
Excited to see this game.
Now,
and I
Doc,
have strong opinions on this map.
I was gonna say, so you saw the map pick, and you like rushed over to your keyboard to say in our broadcast chat how you felt about Lakeview, which will be the map we play on.
Right. So before we even get started, I'm gonna kind of give a disclaimer that I have only played about 2 to 3 openings on it, haven't really played a full game. But that's largely because I think this map has an insane first turn advantage. Entirely on the fact that I believe 2 things are true. One, the ports are way too close to each other, and if you control the ports and if you control the naval in this map, you basically win the game. And based entirely on those 2 things, I think this is not a map that I would ever pick go second on.
It is worth mentioning that players do pick side on the rule set. It is going to be, like we said, a green finger matchup. Wolf of War quickly double checking his map pick and Twitch chat over there. We'll continue talking about the players themselves for just a second. So Wolf of War and Finessin, both of them not new to the game, but didn't play in Groove of War 1 once again. I think that'll be a recurring theme here. A lot of people are new to this tournament specifically. Wolf of War, a few interesting things to say about him. He is mainly a trading card and board game player for his hobby, but played a lot of Advanced Wars growing up. Didn't play really competitive like a lot of you guys have in Advanced Wars by Web, but did play the game casually with friends. So he did play the multiplayer aspect of Advanced Wars. Also, interestingly, he's Auto Slots Tournament Champion #1, so in between Groove of Wars this time around, we did have a quick Auto Slots tournament. Amazing custom map. Doc, did you play in that, I think?
I played in that. It's a fun map. I think that it needed a bit more refining, but it was an interesting experience, and I hope to see more creative custom maps like that one again. The basic premise of auto slots was you have to kind of pick units that you think will show up randomly, and basically the more expensive the unit is, the less likely it shows up. If it shows up, you get it, but not you. Your AI will get it. So basically, you have 2 AIs battling it out with units that you kind of got some control over picking. It has a lot of randomness.
And it's not related, I mean, Auto Slots is not related to Auto Chess from like Dota, which is becoming really popular, right? It's more of like literal slots.
Yeah, it's closer to going to the casino and playing slot at a slot machine.
So Wolf of War, Lady Luck shines on him. We'll see if that continues for his damage range rolls in this match. Finessin, a newer player, is what he told me. Not to expect too much from him, but dude, who knows? You've been playing in a bubble, you could be amazing. And also he plays Smash competitively, so he understands at the very least, you know, what goes into a competitive environment for a tournament. He's not gonna get nerves playing in his first tournament. He does know what he's doing in that regard. The players should be starting soon. I've given them the okay. They're getting that ready. Hopefully we won't have a big DC this time around again, like we did in the past few games, but if we do, hopefully you guys will forgive us. This is the first day of a new patch. There goes the game. Finessin as Greenfinger on the red bottom left. In the top right will be Wolf of War as Greenfinger in the blue on the top right.
All right. So they're both going to capture their ports on turn 1 because holy crap is naval important. And I want to just point out, look at how much Deep Sea. Deep Sea actually runs from one production spot all the way to the other one. Turtles have 12 movement over Deep Sea, so this distance is basically nothing. Yeah, I think that's just a good way of putting it in the first place. Turtles are extremely powerful on this map because, well, you can camp your opponent's production so easily. And turtles also do get their crit from Deep Sea, which is pretty much everywhere. So you're gonna see that this Deep Sea in particular, right on the corner of each of the production, each of the ports, is Deep Sea, meaning that either spot where a player builds can be crit by a turtle, and turtles do pretty brutal damage to basically every naval unit.
A harpoon.
I think Greenfinger is really an interesting commander for this map. Just there aren't many like wide pathways on this map.
Yeah, so if you're playing Greenfinger, you'll be able to entirely lock off a front, basically, which is an interesting thing. Don't know if I pick Greenfinger myself on this map, but I don't think he's a terrible choice for this map.
Hope you guys enjoy Greenfinger's theme.
So Finessin bought Merman here, and I think that's a mistake because I think you always want to build the turtle first.
For that giant runway of Deep Sea, absolutely.
Yeah, you build a turtle, because I think the way this usually plays out is player 1 builds a turtle on turn 2, then player 2 has to build a turtle as well. If player 2 doesn't build a turtle, oh boy do things get bad really fast.
So
in this case, Thomas can actually get a huge advantage here.
Yeah, I want to ask, I haven't played this map too much, but it seems that player 2 could respond to the turtle with... Okay, never mind. Thomas does go for the turtle build first.
Look at that movement. I had to like actually go out of my way to scroll pretty precisely to just emphasize what this runway looks like.
Yeah, it is absolutely insane. So I suppose now Finessin can build a turtle now, and he won't be completely blown out, but it'll be like he went second, I'd say. He will be able to, I guess, capture a city here, but man, Thomas will be able to position his turtle really nicely, and do all sorts of terrible stuff.
I do want to say harpoon ship could counter the turtle if you make sure the harpoon ship can't be attacked from a deep sea tile, because if you do that, then the harpoon ship will basically prevent the turtle from being too aggressive on your...
Yeah. What I'll say is one of the interesting one of the dynamics I would say is, while in general harpoon ships do counter turtles, a problem is that because turtles move so fast on deep sea, that a harpoon ship actually can't outzone a turtle. And the turtle gets a first hit on a harpoon ship with deep sea. That's lights out for the harpoon ship.
You're totally right about that.
Without deep sea, then the harpoon ship can actually zone out the turtle and really truly hard counter it. So on this map even, you still probably... I feel like you spend the first 2 turns just building turtles because of how oppressive they are.
I don't necessarily think that player 1 has a massive advantage by building because he builds the first turtle. I mean, assuming that player 2 responds to a turtle of his own, and then player 1 turtle basically can't get too close to the enemy turtle, right?
Right, but he can position his turtle more aggressively.
Right, okay.
Especially if he follows up with a harpoon ship in that case. So then your turtle is able to threaten his harpoon ship if he brings it out. And also you'll always be sort of one unit ahead, and naval units, unit count is super important in general. Yeah, just where Wolf has put his turtle, you can sort of see how, well, technically it's not hitting his turtle yet. It's also just able to squeeze so much area.
I do want to say it isn't exactly safe for Orange, for Thomas to send his turtle in, even if it could hit something, just because to instantly kill it with like a turtle and something else that he'll build this turn.
Yeah. Another thing about this map is people are like, well, these towers are in fantastic positions. Look at how they're right on the front line, basically. So air units in theory should be powerful. They can hit the land and sea. The problem with these towers is that almost any harpoon ship is just going to camp the hell out of them. And if a harpoon ship is camping a tower, well, you're not building air units from there. That's just throwing away money. So when you control the sea, you're going to control the air because you can camp both towers relatively easily. And there's all these wonderful beaches just there for warships to sit and basically stop any kind of push. Basically like extra power from trebuchets.
So, Doc, do you think a player could win by giving up the naval war and winning the land war? Like if the enemy goes too hard into naval.
I think there's like a theoretical case for it, but in practical terms.
I mean, I think as long as you don't lose your actual port, you can continue to focus on land mainly.
I would feel more comfortable with that if there wasn't for all these beaches around here, because warships on beaches, crazy damage.
Right, but at the same time, those beaches are somewhat far from most of the important things. So
well, but they're kind of far from the important
things. We don't really know.
But they're not as far from the front line, where the front line would form.
You could go for land on this map. Give up naval. I don't mean completely give up naval. I mean maybe you lose control of one center village or even two center villages or something to protect the port and then prevent enemy warships from camping our beaches.
Yeah, and we're also seeing here this control. There's also the economic advantage, right? If you can capture those economic villages, then that's just more money to you. And a part of it is, sure, even if you discount warships, there's also the fact that it means that you will have monopoly over air control, right? So just between those two things, I think it becomes very quickly very difficult to try to win a game with just land units. And then there's those bridges as well. Like, you can cut off any... Oh, look, you cut off any attack from the south. And then they basically have exactly one front that you can essentially limit how much they can fight into, like, the 2 tiles on the left or so.
Not like you're going to be able to switch fronts on this map anyways. There goes the harpoon ship, by the way.
Yeah, I feel like Wolf might have put himself a bit on the back foot by building a merman here. I mean, there is the gold advantage, which is the main incentive to buying one, but you're also kind of back to being behind on naval units, although mermen are really effective against harpoon ships in general. Harpoon ships do very little damage to them, and mermen will absolutely destroy harpoon ships. Yeah, they do about 70 damage to a harpoon ship.
I think the moral of the story for naval combat is enough amphibians will just destroy anything, really. Have enough of them.
Yeah, amphibians are even good against turtles, to be honest.
Because you can chip them away without taking damage.
Yeah, they do about 30%, I believe, to turtles, which is reasonable.
Just personally, I find it hard to criticize Thomas for going for the merfolk as a second port build, just because he did need to get those water villages, and if he delayed it anymore, every turn he delays it is another turn he's not capping those villages. So
yeah.
Okay.
I think I do lean to agree with you. Yeah, I haven't seen many merfolk in the games I've played with it. Usually they're built as like 3rd or 4th or even as late as the 7th naval unit, just because of how important the rocket tank of the sea become. But capturing villages definitely helps, and I'll say another part that helps is just being able to heal from them. I lost a game on this one actually based off the fact I didn't acknowledge that enough. So Wolf is spending a good amount of time thinking about what he wants to build, and this is a pretty key turn for what should he build. He's definitely thinking between a harpoon ship and another turtle, and I think they're both valid options.
There goes the turtle.
okay, let's go for
There goes the
turtle.
turtle. Yeah, I lean towards the turtle as well.
Yeah. I feel like harpoon ships is something you build after the enemy has maybe 2 or 3 turtles, because turtles do a pretty good job of countering turtles.
So,
You get the
turtles all the way down.
I got that reference.
This is a cultured stream.
Okay, on
So
the
it looks
land
like
front.
we're almost done the capture phase. Only 3 properties left uncaptured. 4 actually, but that should be fixed by the end of this turn.
On the land front, it seems Wolf has opted to go for a wagon nation of the commander, whereas Finessin has not gone for the wagon. Is there any possible way that Wolf could use his wagon in some way to maybe get an advantage?
I think the bridges are too difficult to get through to really let the wagons be much impact, apart from mostly just, I guess his commander can actually kind of move between the fronts now, which is pretty significant, right? I've never seen a commander really interact with another commander on this map because of that, but maybe the wagon will let him actually switch it up a little bit, which could prove to be useful.
Do you think it's possible that Wolf could use the, say, commander plus wagon to support push on the left side here, where Finessin's stronghold is?
Yeah. I'll also point out, the more I look at this map, the more naval advantages I see. Just because of the way these rivers are, that's also a pretty good place for merfolk to just come up and do lots of damage too. So
But at least on the rivers, there are, at least on the rivers, they are, somewhat vulnerable Your commander will just kill them outright. Sword crit will kill them. Most things will kill them. The -2 defense is pretty.
Yep.
So
Spearmen will kill them. Pretty much if the wind blows in the right direction, they'll die when they're on river, but they'll still do plenty of damage. I know that it's very easy to look at the codex and say, oh wait, all of these mermen, they do no damage. But the reason it's so deceptive is because they get a 2x crit on any kind of water. So whether it's sea, deep sea, reef, or river.
to say the naval battle here looks like it'll just turn into a stalemate because neither side can engage without taking heavy losses.
Oh.
Oh.
Just as you say it. So, yep, that's going to be a lot of damage. But
that
the good news for
yeah,
Finessin is that he's going to be able to move that that harpoon ship onto the reef, getting a crit, and that actually alone might still be enough to one-shot the turtle. Funny enough.
No, not really. Harpoon ships only have a dead zone of 2, so they can only hit from 3 away at the minimum.
You're right. So he will not be able to do that. See. This does become interesting for what Finessin will do. Well, actually, no, he can't hit that top turtle, so there's actually only one real option. Yeah, it's kill this turtle. And I think that actually might be a bit of a misplay.
I think this turtle is dead, and then Finessin can easily reinforce because Thomas doesn't have too good of a follow-up to that one turtle attacking. So
I think you're exactly correct. I'll say naval fights are really easy to throw in general because, like I said, they're all about unit count, so like you go -1 unit count and the other person goes -1 on unit count. It goes back and forth a fair bit, but yeah. Another point about weather is, another reason you don't have weather on is because weather is extremely it does funny things to naval combat because well, land units, they get the range modifier. On sea units, they actually just get a movement modifier. So with favorable weather, they get +2 movement. In unfavorable weather, they get -2. And it's really hilarious seeing a harpoon ship move only 1 sea tile turn in severe weather.
you can't even hit something that's hitting you. How bad is that? Okay. So I do expect Finessin here to be able to kill that turtle with a harp and a turtle crit. And then he can just build something else like a turtle or
build a turtle.
Yeah, build a turtle.
I think he undoubtedly built a turtle here. I think it's wrong to... Well, I mean, a harpoon ship would just lead to the exact same thing happening, so I guess a harpoon ship wouldn't be bad either. But I would go for the turtle here.
Yep, definitely. That's what I would go for too. We do note that Finessin has his tower captured this turn, so he will be able to build air, and he does have the money for it. So it might be interesting to see whether he goes for an air unit, like a harpy. The harpy here will be pretty strong. Nothing contested power.
What do you think of a dragon?
Dragon right now? A dragon right now. Let me look up how much damage they do to turtles. Okay, it seems like they do pretty respectable damage to turtles. That's 80 damage base to turtles, so it's a 80 to 90 range. Oh, that's pretty good.
Sorry about that, guys. Had to step out of the room for just a second. It looks like we desynced again. So we're gonna be right back on the live stream. You guys can keep up with the radio broadcast.
All right. So Finessin
Alright.
has started to use his wagon of his own. I guess he's going to be able to mirror whatever Wolf does, and he does go for the heartbeat here. So I was thinking about it as well, and I think the biggest reason why not to build a dragon here is basically because you don't get to build a naval unit this turn. And like I keep saying, naval combat is so hilariously about unit combat that not building for a turn is really, really bad. Yeah, I think Finessin has taken a fairly decisive advantage at this point. The one thing is that...
Sorry, Doc. Just for those of you who are viewing and this little bit of a catch-up, we do get to see all of the action leading up to back when the players... back to when we get real time. So you are going to get a quick recap of what's happened in the time we were gone. Okay, go ahead and continue, Doc.
Yep. So like I mentioned earlier, harpoon ships are extremely important for locking down the towers in this map. And even though I would say Finessin has started to really take the naval control aggressively, he hasn't quite gotten that free air control yet. But I expect to see it in about a turn or two. And harpoon ships are pretty good against air units. I mean, those numbers are big.
This place will do nicely.
Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Groove of War number 2. 1 week long, I guess 1.5 week long tournament for Chucklefish's War Groove. I'm Gavin. I'm joined by Doc. Say hi, Doc.
Hello.
And Zero Nix. Hi, Zero Nix.
Hey, how's it going?
We'll be bringing you the action today, tomorrow, and then next Wednesday and Thursday. Giving you featured matchups in these best of 1 Swiss sets.
Let's see.
I think Thomas, our Wolf of War, should go for a harpoon here. I mean, he kind of has
to. Yeah.
because of the harpy, right?
Yeah, because the harpy, he's got 2 turtles. You need a harpoon now. But then again, it's also how do you protect it, right?
Yeah.
There's 2 turtles out, and I think Finessin is almost at the point where if Thomas builds a harpoon ship, he's gonna build a warship now. But that might be a little premature.
Yeah, it might be a little early. I mean, Thomas just has 2 turtles, and they're not really, or at least Finessin won't really be able to protect his warship from enemy turtles yet, I want to say. Possible play in maybe a couple turns, I think, once the naval is more settled.
Yep, there's the harpoon ship. The biggest threat to that harpoon ship is probably this merman, because like I said, merman will hose harpoon ships, and harpoon ships really don't do that much, do surprising little damage to them. Only 35, which is a little less than you expect. So yeah, War of Wolf is completely getting zoned out. Look at how far he has to throw his turtles away because of how threatening these turtles are. Yeah, it's now going to be up to Finessin to slowly push ahead and take care of that. I also think on this east side, War of Wolf is going to want to pull some of these units back because you don't want to be giving free groove to the commander, just in general.
Once again, decent, guys. Sorry for all the issues on this.
So we'll have to see how Finessin plays here. One thing about maps where the commanders are usually on opposite sides is that the side with the commander will generally be this push that you can't really stop. It is really hard to stop the commanders, especially when you're so poor, since more than half your income is usually going to the naval front in this map, and you have to split it then what remaining amount of income you have to each of the sides. You generally don't have a lot of money. So all these swords, spearmen, even this mage, they're charge fodder for the unstoppable monster commanders are in this game. So Finessin is starting to use his heartbeat aggressively on the land. So part of the value of air units on this map is, well, you force out a harpoon ship and you force out a mage. I mean, you can think of that alone as a fair bit of economic advantage. You paid a lot less for that harpy than they paid for their mage, their harpoon ship. And the harpy is still going to generate value wherever those units just aren't.
Finessin going for a melee swordsman here. I think he needs like maybe at least an archer to help break the choke point across the bridge. Oh, that would help a lot, in my opinion. And these enemy spears too, the swordsman won't do that much damage to them.
Yeah, I just think the spearman push on the right isn't going to be able to do much with the harpy and Greenfinger over there. On the left, they've already started gone past that bridge, right? And he hasn't started pumping out air units yet, but I think that he's gonna have to pull these pikemen back sooner or later.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
just really hard to push with land units on this map in my experience.
That bridge is such a heavy choke point too. It's like almost impossible to bypass it in any way due to all the forests and rivers.
And already look, if Finessin just moves his merman 2 more to the right, then, you know, that bridge is also now getting camped by a merman. Like, that's just so devastating.
One more to the
So
right.
Finessin has chosen to move his harpoon ship onto a reef, which is alright, but it does mean that he's not getting to reinforce it this turn. He will be able to reinforce it next turn, however. Those pikemen are just poking away at that village, looking to do a bit of economic damage, getting a bit of value.
I don't like this play by Finessin. Those pikemen will just become cut off and trapped in.
Yeah.
He's not getting those pikemen back. That
I think
village
you're probably
is actually,
right, but it...
yeah, not dead yet. So Finessin actually didn't accomplish anything this turn.
Well, I think you're generally right. It's worth pointing out that Finessin did invest in a knight, which is going to be able to actually get to the front line pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I suspect that that Werewolf is he's going to build a harpy, or probably a harpy here is correct. Just because there's no anti-air yet on this side. That harpoon ship isn't relevant yet, and I'll just force a beige out of him.
I think Wolf of War could attack the stray merman over here. There's one.
Sorry about that, guys. Did a small little fat finger on the switcher. Accidentally saw a starting screen on stream. My bad about that, guys.
It does look a bit free to pick off that merman, but if you look at all the... Oh, wait. Did Finessin not build a naval unit last turn?
Looks like it.
No, he did not. He just hoarded 500 gold. I believe. I think that's a mistake.
It probably is, yeah.
Yeah, he's thrown his naval advantage away again. Yeah.
I definitely think Turtle killing the merfolk here is a viable play. Especially, you know, Turtle isn't that much more expensive than a merfolk. And Wolf of War can back it up from long range with the harpoon ship. So, pretty good deal.
Apparently, a few other players are having trouble syncing on this game. I actually just opened the game on my Switch. I can't actually stream from the Switch. I should be able to see disconnects a little bit faster, guys. So hopefully that helps the viewing experience just a bit. Good news is, this is a best of one, so we don't actually have to worry about it for too long.
Okay, it does look like Wolf of War goes for the attack. Oh, and it misses the kill by 1%. Oh, that's so unfortunate. It's really unlucky.
Yep, literally 1%.
I think that was like the minimum possible damage. No luck at all.
150. Yeah, no, I think that is basically maximum luck, maximum bad luck for,
And that's
for
what
Wolf.
Wolf of War gets for winning the Auto Slots tournament. Winning that tournament cost him that merman.
Oh no. Well, in scheme of things, I guess a merman is a cheap enough price to pay. The Wolf of War actually is being pretty passive with Greenfinger over here. I don't know if I like that because those pikes can't really do anything, and yeah, it feels like Wolf of War is just letting those pikes go for free.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'd say in general, both these players have been fairly timid as a whole. Which happens, especially since this is a best of one, right? In a best of three, you're a little bit more confident, since if you think you're better, then you'll be fine even if you lose one. Here, it's just one game, it's over. It changes how you play a little bit.
I mean, it also is Swiss, so losing one match isn't really the end of the world.
I think you have to, I haven't double checked the pool size, but I'm pretty sure you have to win. I think if you lose one match, there's a very low chance that you move on to the playoffs. Just due to the way the numbers work out.
Okay.
But it's gonna be tough. Yeah.
Okay,
no,
wait, Wolf of War.
Are competitive.
Wolf of War also opted to skip a naval unit build.
That is interesting. What did he build? He built an archer. I guess he wanted to get the archer and the harpy and the swordsman and opted for that.
I'm not sure about how much value this archer is going to get. It feels like it's going to sit there doing nothing.
I mean, the value then is just the fact that it's stopping this push, right? I guess that's where the value lies.
But an archer against Greenfinger, a harpy, and 3 swords is not the counter that I would have built. I don't know. Like, these 3 pikes will do very well against both Greenfinger and the 3 swords. And he had a mage for the Harpy. So, I feel like if that was the intent, he should have built something else. Maybe a 4th pike. A built a naval unit.
So that's a small misplay from Finessin. That's just ordering. You always want to hit with your ranged units first. That way you prevent the counterattack damage. So in this case, Finessin would have a full health turtle instead of 85% turtle if he had attacked with his harpoon ship.
Right, yeah.
Those are just little things, but they add up. You should.
Oh, Finessin does go for the warship.
And it is safe
Very
at the moment. So I like it. He's
Taking advantage. Yep.
Yeah.
Doesn't have many turtles left, basically. And they'll be slow to get back, so this warship is safe for the moment and will begin to pressure the center and both sides.
And I think we'll also see Finessin next turn probably build a harpoon ship, and once you have about 2 harpoon ships, then you can start really pressuring. And he's really trying to make something happen with his harpy. That's an interesting spot to put it.
It's interesting because, yeah, that mage won't be able to hit it this turn. The harpy is just blocked off by all this forest. And the harpy might going down the side.
The archer stops from going all the way down the side, but it's definitely oppressive.
I feel like it's had its options severely limited.
By moving up?
Yeah, just by being right on the border of the map like that, right? It's kind of...
Well, what were its options to the left of that?
Yeah, that's true. The harpoon ship is doing a fairly good job of zoning it out.
I think it's just one of those units you put on the front line to sort of deter anything crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the most farther up it could move without the mage hitting it in particular. But so Finessin is he's just moving up. He's taking his time, not rushing it.
Left side of the map's looking especially vulnerable at the moment, by the way. That Harpy makes a pretty big difference against the Knight Soldier Double Spearman with Greenfinger there as well. I think we're definitely should be paying a little bit more attention to the left side of the map right now. As Finessin is ending up his turn, we mentioned how the pools work for this tournament. The top 2 players from each pool, after playing 4 games, progresses onto singles bracket. The pool that these players are in is pool number 3. Wolf of War playing Finessin right now. A few other matches that have happened in that pool. Matsurin beat the Burke Macklin, and I don't know if these were DQs or matches, it doesn't tell. Mystic beat Mystery Pig. Zero Nix, our very own Zero Nix, beat Wolf of Wolf. And Herb Approach beat Kale. And our earlier match was Junkmail versus Gaberson in pool number 2. Doc, you're playing Mataway.
Yep.
Doofmaster beat Cabas, and Fated Sun beats Small Charmeleon.
Charge! Huh?
I'll say Doofmaster is a fairly strong player. I wouldn't be surprised if he got out of his pool. I've played with him a few times, and I think he's a very strong player as a whole.
Right, so Thomas
push on the left.
Yep. That city that Finessin just captured is immediately going to be taken back by Greenfinger, giving him a lot of charge. So Wolf of War is pretty close to full groove here. It'll be interesting how he uses Greenfinger's vines to maybe block off enemy units. think a really great use of Greenfinger's vines on this map would be to kind of block off the enemy reinforcements and then push forward to take those two villages on the side.
Yeah, I'm trying to analyze the naval combat right now.
Yeah, Wolf of War
It's
should definitely build a
interesting.
turtle here.
Yeah, I mean he has. If he doesn't, yep, just like I mentioned, the merman here, that's gonna just destroy that knight. Oh, less damage than I thought.
Yeah, mermen don't
But-
do great damage knights. I just think that mermen's did now. Maybe not the
The
best
Harpy's a
use
great
of the
cover.
Yeah, no, the harpy covers
Okay.
it.
Now the harpy covers it. Oh, that's perfect.
That's a great bait.
Perfect. Yep.
That's great. I love it.
Destin getting punished for his lack of anti-air here.
Yeah. I
Will
think
do.
instead of this warship, if he built a harpoon ship, he might be in a bit of a better spot. Because this harpoon ship is. He had a chance to heal it up, I believe, 3 turns ago, and he missed out on that chance. And now it's a bit more awkward if he wants to heal it now. If War of Wolf doesn't attack with his turtle this turn, then he could. That would give him the chance, but. I have the feeling he's going to attack with this turtle.
You mean use the turtle to attack the 1 health turtle?
Or, I think so. I'm also considering the possibility he attacks the 4 health harpoon ship.
See.
But I think he probably goes for the turtle here, I want to say. But I'm
Yeah,
not
I mean-
entirely sure.
I mean, if it attacks the 4 health harpoon ship, it's gonna get firstly warship crit, and then turtle crit, and then
Yeah.
it'll definitely be dead after the Morpho.
I mean, he'll just die to merman turtle. The warship doesn't even do anything.
Oh.
I will say it's a bit tricky to. This warship was definitely a bit premature because, Wolf of War can build another turtle and, just all this deep sea, so much deep sea.
Super vulnerable to enemy turtles.
Yep.
They're basically glass cannons, just like most other units in this game.
Yeah. I know you talked about Advanced Wars. I'll bring it up again. One of the big differences, though, is just how fragile units are in this game.
Right, exactly.
Um,
Especially with crits and everything.
yeah. I was surprised they brought the terrain defense back to Advanced Wars by Web because if I remind you correctly, and since you probably know better than I do, correct me if I'm wrong. In Advanced Wars Dual Strike, which Advanced Wars by Web is based on, each star is 10%. But in Days of Ruin, they reduced it to 5%, right?
No, not really. In Days of Ruin,
Okay.
each star is still 10%, but several of the terrain tiles had their terrain values changed. For example, in Forest is 3 defense, but in Dual Strike, Forest is 2 defense, and in Days of Ruin, City is 2 defense and 3 in Dual Strike, and etc. And there's lots of new terrain types in Days of Ruin, and yeah, stuff like that.
I see. Oh, War of Wolf did not build a naval unit here, and that's
he
gonna head
didn't.
badly for him.
So he couldn't really build anything after he built that second Harpy.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so Finessin finally reinforces the harpoon ship. The harpoon ship is now fully functional.
Oh, what are you doing? Oh no. What
The
are you
harpoon
doing?
ship is now in range of enemy turtle and the enemy merfolk. So Finessin has to do something about this. Okay, I guess it's not too bad to deal with.
That's a really weak play from him in general.
But yeah,
The
what he
turtle,
should've done-
double turtle to cover though.
What I'm saying is, that turtle right now. So the only unit that could really threaten the warship. Well, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I suppose the reason why he didn't want to hit the turtle with his warship was because there's that harpy there. And that actually is the big reason that makes that move make a lot more sense. I see it now. Yeah. So, just to explain what Zero, I assume Zero was also seeing, was that there was the option for Finessin to move his warship all the way up, hit that turtle, hit it with his own turtle, kill that turtle, and then harpoon ships don't do very well against warships in general. The problem with that play that I now see, and I assume Finessin saw, that this harpy here would have been able to just blow up his warship, which is not something you can really afford.
not really blow
I
up,
still
but
think,
do good damage to it.
yeah. Still probably could have hit with his turtle, maybe, I think, but I'm not certain about that.
I personally thought Finessin was gonna go for the harpoon plus turtle kill on the enemy turtle. Just eliminate the threat to your own warship, and then the warship is free to move up, threaten the enemy harpoon ship. Rock paper scissors relationship. Anyway, it's water under the bridge now. Under the bridge, Finessin is advancing on the bridge on the right. Wagons standing on the bridge, blocking. What are your thoughts on this wagon play by Finessin on the right?
To be honest, I probably have a lot less experienced players when it comes to wagons, since I find on a lot of maps buying them it's a pretty big investment for something that doesn't directly contribute.
Right.
I actually don't know if that wagon's gonna die, but actually I'm pretty sure the wagon dies here if he really wanted to, but I don't think he needs to kill it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could kill the wagon with very little trouble.
And so, the interesting question is, if Wolf of War does try to attack the wagon here, how could Finessin counterattack rather? Whether I'm assuming Finessin is putting the wagon out there because he believes he can defend it against attack. So anyway, on the other side of the map, Wolf of War is cleaning up the two. They're now gone, and Green Figure has gone his groove. So meanwhile, Finessin is nowhere near getting his groove. So Wolf of War will have an advantage in that sense. I want to see how Wolf of War uses the Green Finger groove here. It's one of his big advantages at the moment. Pretty important to use it well. Okay, Wolf of War did say in chat that he misclicked the archer. So presumably he wanted to use the archer to hit the harpy over here.
Yeah, that would have made a fair bit of sense. Pretty painful as a misclick.
I don't think he has too much to worry about really.
Yeah, he should just be very defensive.
Right. Just
Well, he's winning
keep
the other
a nice formation. Don't do anything too reckless. He'll be fine. He has enough spearmen. He can quickly reinforce from his barracks. But I really do think Wolf of War should buy a naval unit, preferably a turtle this turn, because enemy turtle, 2 turtles, currently has 2 naval units to Finessin's 5, which is a huge disadvantage for us alone.
Yep, these are the kind of numbers where Finessin can just camp your port, and once your port's camped, then oh boy, do things get dicey. Yep, he built a turtle here. That's gonna help. I don't think things are spiraling. Well, what's been carrying him so far is just the fact that his harpoon ship's been actually useful well. For so long, Finessin was damaged. Now that harpoon ship is back to full, then Finessin a lot stronger. But Finessin has been sort of... This warship has almost been an albatross, right? It's great for actually doing stuff, it's your reward for winning the naval, but he bought it early, so now he's spending so much just trying to defend it.
Yeah, it's like the white elephant. You can't keep it, can't make use of it.
It's fairly similar to when players make a mistake of buying a trebuchet too early. It becomes this heavy ability.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
You're wasting everything trying to defend it, keep it alive. If it dies, you're done. It's that kind of situation again. Finessin should be able to get himself out of this because he had the advantage, but it's definitely slowed him down.
Naval combat so far, I mean, we've seen a few scuffles, but it mostly seems to be both players positioning their turtles just slightly out of range of enemy turtles and stalemating that way. These turtles will do significant damage. Strike. So that's the name of the game. Go safe from enemy turtles.
I think Finessin might want to build a second harp here, just so that he can get them to focus more on defending left, especially with beasts flying around, and use one for more aggressive turtle.
It does look like we desynced again, guys, so we will be right back to the action. Apparently a few of our players are also having problems with disconnects as well. I apparently desynced on my Switch and the PC version at the same time. So that's... I hate to see it happen. Only a 3-unit desync that time, though. To explain sort of what's going on with that desync, by the way, basically what happens is the game just stops and it doesn't really give any indicator. So our server doesn't progress, and it does for other players, so...
Yeah, it can be especially frustrating if you're in the middle of a match and you're just sitting there wondering why you're gone, but your opponent is also sitting there saying that they ended their turn an hour ago.
Wolf of War reaching out to us that he's having a lot of trouble right now. He's actually trying to play a witch right now, and he can't get through the desync. The other thing is, like, this is actually pretty bad. You can't really just weigh it out either. If there's a patch, you might lose your game. If there's a patch, you will lose your game. So that's not good.
Well, the good
I
thing
can
is
personally
is
attest
that,
to the fact that patch will make you lose your games. I've lost a couple games that way.
well, the good thing is that a patch will or the patch won't be anytime soon, because the reason that this quality of life patch actually took so long to come out was because Nintendo, it has to go through Nintendo for the Switch one, and
Oh, God.
play all these media. Nintendo, man, I love your games, I love your consoles. God damn, do you have issues?
Yeah, multiple companies. It being crossplay for everyone makes it very difficult to push out certain patches. Although a hotfix patch for something like this, I'd imagine they can get greenlit pretty fast, hopefully.
We'll have to see. You would think that, but remember, this
Yeah.
is Nintendo. They have voice chat
Again.
on Switch.
Keep
They
on
just choose not to enable it.
keep on calling me out if you guys see desyncs. It's hard for me to keep up. It's hard to notice there's a desync when you're only listening in the game.
It's interesting that Finessin decided to land the merfolk here. Or have it contribute on the land battle. Being in the water. Land, but if it can maybe get to that river, you can get something going with the. You can get something going with the merfolk. I also am interested to see what Finessin plans to do on the right this turn. Into this formation, because it's definitely possible for him to do a fair bit of damage to, say, one spearman, the mage. Yeah. But for a soil crit, might not be such a great idea.
So, what do you think you do in finesse position?
This position?
Yeah.
That's a
have
tough
my
one. Okay, so well, Finessin. I mean, the left side would be a huge concern for me, because Wolf of War is going to quickly start a push there with Greenfinger and this swarm of units that is largely unopposed at the moment and can be reinforced pretty quickly. I don't think Finessin will really be able to hold this bridge at all, and that means that Wolf of War will get the favorable. We'll be able to cross safely, basically, and then take the control of the forest there, and then it'll be very threatening, because now he's on favorable terrain and can't be kicked off very easily. So I don't know. I think the mage number 2 there from Finessin was a bad idea. Should have built something that more directly counters Greenfinger. Pike, start building up a pike swarm, or yeah, something like that. I would definitely say Finessin is on the back foot at the moment.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think?
I'm also just going to be really critical again. Finessin chose not to build a naval here, and I think Finessin's out here. Like, the only way he can really win this, because he's already, in my opinion, lost the land war, is stall the land war, because you can have pretty good stalling power, especially with a warship. Like, you put your warship here, you put the harpoon ship here, suddenly any kind of push along the top is going to be shoved against this side, and that's painful. And while that's happening, you try to snowball the sea. You have an advantage. Now he actually is disadvantaged, and I think that might be a game.
Yeah, you're definitely right about trying to delay the land battle while he tries to win the sea battle. Because yeah, the sea was where he had an advantage, and now it seems he doesn't really have an advantage there anymore. Has a lot of turtles. They're zoning out all of Finessin's naval units, especially the warship. Yeah, not fun.
Hmm. I'd also say that Finessin on his hand land units. If they get sliced apart by, if they get separated by Greenfinger, that's game over. He needs to clump them up. So it looks like he is going to bring his warship over there. That's going to be a big part of push around here, and it'll do a good job. Pushing through. Ugh. But how's he going to defend? That's right. He's behind on turtles. Yeah, basically he's just losing. If he doesn't build a naval unit here, I think that I would be willing to call the game.
Okay, and he continues to bring the merfolk onto land.
That's pretty questionable.
I think that's questionable. He really needed the extra body in the water. Okay, so he does build an extra turtle. Yeah.
So at the very least, I guess if he keeps pumping out turtles, he'll be able to defend himself here. And I guess he is technically at a slight advantage when it comes to the sea. It's not a very good one. His advantage is a warship, which has minimal sea impact. It's more about sieging, especially when there's
Yeah,
so,
warship is basically something you build after you win naval, and you want to use your naval advantage to pressure the land, basically.
though they do fulfill, I will say they do fulfill a role if you're putting enemy harpoons, since they will do fantastic damage to harpoons.
Yeah. Even then, like, you have to bring your warship in pretty close for them to be able to hit an enemy harpoon. Then it feels like your warship will just die to an enemy turtle or something.
Yeah, basically it comes down to, yes, they're good against harpoon ships, but turtles have mobility for days, especially on the map. I think this map's greatest flaw is having so much deep sea in such a central location.
Right. So yeah, the deep sea patterning here may not be great. A different deep sea pattern might work. Maybe if 2 lines of deep sea running down the sides. The deep sea in the center is...
Yeah, or maybe just break it up with a couple of reefs. Something like that might make naval combat a little less FTA favored. So messy. I can't get over how much you just click on these turtles and you're like, wait, they basically can go anywhere.
Anyway, you were basically right about the harpoon ships camping the enemy towers. Both towers are now basically locked for production. Can't do anything with them. Harpoon ships are too strong.
Yeah. So Wolf of War did a pretty questionable decision there, moving his archer there, because now Greenfinger can hit that archer and probably kill it. Yeah, no, it should kill it.
Oh, that's a
30%.
lucky kill. I mean, it'll
lucky.
deal like 95% minimum, but like whether it kills is up to luck.
Yeah.
Unfavorable odds of killing. He could kill it with a sword if he really wanted to. So Finessin's archer will put in a lot of work here, just softening up the enemy spears. One of the best counters to spears really is to use an archer, bombard from afar. Or any other indirect unit.
Just wanted to give a quick programming note. Sorry to interrupt. This is the last match of the night. This match between Wolf of War and Finessin. We will be back tomorrow, however, at 7 p.m. Eastern is the goal. Subject to change based on availability, but I think we do actually have it locked for 7, right, Doc?
I'm going to double check.
We'll double check that, but check it out tomorrow. If you want to be alerted for that, be sure to follow the page. Get back to our regularly scheduled harpoon ship air bridge stalling.
far it seems both players are basically trying to be very solid and defensive. That's basically created a peaceful game up to the moment. Maybe we'll see that change as both sides try to push down the side. Just try to
Nature's
push down the
cry.
sides. So Thomas making quite a big push here. Oh, he used his groove. Oh, sorry.
All right. So I have confirmed we have a game for tomorrow, 7 p.m. and it'll actually be me playing. So you'll get to see how much of what I'm saying is just talk.
Okay, sorry about that. I got disconnected there. I'm now caught up to the current game state. So it does look like Thomas has made a very big push on the left, using Greenfinger's vines to basically. And the purpose of this play is to isolate that village on the left from the enemy reinforcements. Because if they want to defend it, they'll have to hack through the vines. And yeah. So, but Wolf of War will probably be able to take that village with little trouble. Any idea why Wolf of War didn't hit the wagon, Duck?
Maybe a mistake. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't really understand why he didn't just hit the wagon if he was gonna keep a spearman there, and he's been doing that for the past few turns too, just not hitting the wagon even though he could have. A weird play.
Forward!
So there's that archer hit we're talking about, and
Right.
it looks like he low rolled.
I think that
is
was pretty
how-
unlikely to kill, just in my
Yeah.
opinion.
That was a pretty low chance of success. Oh, his mage is actually out of position enough for that to work.
Oh yeah, you're totally right.
Don't
In
think it
fact,
makes a
Green-
huge impact here, but
In fact, it might not look like it, but Greenfinger is completely safe from that river. There's nothing that can hit him. Absolutely
That is-
nothing.
very true.
And here by Finessin. Finessin does go for an archer on the left.
I don't like it.
Yeah. It seems like it'll just get hit.
Yeah, archers are pretty good against harpies when they hit first.
Right.
It's kind of like turtles and harpoons, right? Harpoons hit
Yeah.
first, boom, they do great. When turtle hits first, that's not so great. Same thing. They're mutual checks.
Finessin will have to play very carefully around the vines here on the left. On one hand, he has a pretty defensible position near the beach because he does have a warship there that will guard everything.
Hi everyone.
But then again, Wolf of War might be able to attack Finessin's barracks if he does that. Wolf of War specifically left like one side open so that he could do that.
I'm glad to see Finessin building more turtles. That's gonna help him a lot if he wants to turn this game around. Oh, Finessin can actually pick off a turtle right now. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. I think that is a mistake right now, but I'm not sure. What do you think?
Gavin is desynced again. Okay, and I was desynced up to that point too. So let me quickly catch myself up. Okay, so it looks like Finessin is finally starting to ramp up turtle production. At this point, there is no real way for Wolf of War to attack into this enemy in turtle infested waters.
Yeah, no, this should be the beginning of the end for the naval combat. The only question is, will he be able to overwhelm this side?
Right. So whether Wolf of War will be able to take the side before he loses too much advantage in naval combat.
Yeah, I think part of the issue is that Wolf of War has gone pushed past the most difficult part, I think, right? He
Right,
pushed
yeah.
past the bridge, which is
Mhm.
where the naval is going to be most impactful.
Yeah.
Now that he's basically on Finessin's doorsteps, then the naval isn't quite the decisive lance push stop that it could have been.
Wolf of War is actually bringing his wagon back around from the other side. So now it's going to allow him to quickly
This place will do
pikes
nicely.
or archers from his barracks to the front line, which will be very useful. solves a major logistical issue. Like when you push into enemy territory, your supply lines will be much longer, and you have to deal with that accordingly. Sports in general are just really good in this game. Like wagons are dirt cheap, they take a lot of punishment, have a lot of movement. Balloons are pretty cheap, and they carry 2 of any land unit, and they have 6 move, which is pretty good. And barges are just like the cheapest transport ever.
Yeah, I think on this map you can always afford to build a barge, but I think I can see an argument for a barge is that you can switch between them, but I don't think it's a good enough reason.
Okay, so Wolf of War finally attacks the wagon.
I feel like Wolf of War has to win this push on the left, though. If Wolf of War doesn't end the game now, I think then things will get very, very bad because, well, we talked about Finessin is finally going to be able to start, hopefully he's going to start being aggressive with this huge turtle army and
right.
actually
And also,
win.
yeah. Not confident that Wolf has enough here to really win the push on the left. I mean, sure, he has Commander and some pikes coming in, but he doesn't really have much else. The 2 Harpies, though, they might get a few good trades, but they'll be cleaned up pretty quickly by the enemy mages. And then after that, Finessin can just reinforce unit from his barracks every turn. So, and yeah. I think this will be it'll be difficult for Wolf to really make any further gains on that side. I mean, he did win like 1 village so far, which I think he can safely call his own, but it's questionable whether he can really do anything else.
So I mentioned earlier how harpoons time to buy them with the turtles, even on this map. I think we're reaching the point where you should start spamming harpoons. There's a lot of turtles out there.
Now that you mention it, you're right. Yeah, we have harpoons at this point, and part of the reason why harpoons are so good is that they outrange even say warships and enemy.
Yeah.
And they do great first strike damage to turtles. They don't die to enemy turtles, which is pretty big, even on crit. So, and they're also pretty cheap.
That harpoon ship can hit that turtle. I wonder, I think he should go for it. Because he can cover it still.
It's a new harpoon ship?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so he uses the harpoon, hits a turtle, he throws more turtles at that turtle in the deep water, and he'll have killed 2 of the turtles. Harpoon will go back and kill one of his turtles, putting the turtle move. I don't want to spend a long time doing that math properly, but yeah. If everyone trying to improve, practice your turtle algebra. But naval battle is you have to be able to think more moves ahead just because of how much you build it.
Anyway, it looks like Finessin's push on the right has
I don't think Finessin's really been pushing on the right, he's just been holding it up the bridge, which is a good spot to hold it, I guess.
Yeah, okay, but it seems that Wolf of War's goal is also to just hold it at the bridge. And Wolf of War is pushing and winning on the other sides. So Finessin kind of has to make something happen on the right, which he is in an okay position to do because we're there. It can start hitting spears this turn. The Merfolk will finally be in position to attack something.
Yep, that turtle took a bruising. Maybe what he does here is he pushes this warship up and he just... Oh, he is going for the hit on the turtle.
Yeah, okay. With
So
this,
we'll
the
see.
warship push-up becomes safe. If he hadn't done that, I would have said, well, you can
Well, I
maybe
mean,
kill the harpoon.
the other turtle can still hit it, right? Yeah, the other turtles can still hit it.
Yeah.
Which is why I wasn't sure if it's the right play or not. So this might be an overextension, leads to him losing. But
Yeah, it's really hard to tell just because of all these one-hit KOs. The game can swing very quickly. So Finessin is going to advance all his. I think this is a
he's
mistake.
going all in.
I don't think this can be correct. That's way too many turtles to push into enemy territory. He's just gonna lose all his turtles.
Hmm.
It's like,
It's so hard to tell. He needs to move his warship up to right behind the harpoon ship.
we can do some quick math here. So Wolf of War has at the moment 3.5 turtles, let's call it, and a harpoon. The harpoon will take out 1 turtle. The 3.5 turtles will take out maybe 1.5 turtles, and then he's yeah. I just see Finessin losing all his turtles right here, and yeah, then he doesn't have much left. Is the main issue.
The other factor, though, is maybe this warship can be useful. That's the only part that we are not also taking into account, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be close enough to Wolf of War's side that he will have. Okay, so he's going to try to break the vines there.
But the
That
thing about
is
the warship
unfortunate.
is, it's not very good against Wolf of War's turtle-heavy navy. Like the warship does pitiful damage to turtles. That's horrible. The turtle crits will just kill it.
Yeah.
But so that warship, yeah, I think as you said earlier, this warship will have minimal impact on naval. Just lose all his turtles right now, and then we can call it a game, more or less.
Well, actually, I am really curious, like, how viable this left side push is on that stronghold.
Huh?
'Cause
I don't think.
Do you think that Wolf of War has a chance of winning due to that left side push?
I don't think he can take the stronghold just because that barracks there is just going to like just think of like if say even if Finessin trades 1-for-1 with all of Wolf's units, which I think Wolf can call a favorable outcome, Wolf will just have nothing left, and Finessin will be able to produce units because it's just so near his barracks, and Wolf of War will have a much tougher time transporting his stuff to the front line. But I do think that Finessin's use of the mage to attack the pikeman there was a mistake, because that mage was supposed to be protecting him against the harpies, and I think the harpies now will just not have any counter. Okay, so possibly Wolf can now hope to maybe take the stronghold. It's questionable.
But the harpies don't do very much damage to holds.
Don't, yeah, but they.
It doesn't matter. And they do take counterattack. What I will say is, after seeing this harpoon ship, I'm flipping back to I think Finessin might be okay. It is really hard to predict this because there's lots of little decisions you have to make correctly. He has to hit this turtle with that. He has to hit the turtle at the center, I think, with his harpoon ship, but I'm not sure if these 3 turtles can take care of these 2 turtles. It's the math is not super straightforward here, but the more I look at it and analyze the position, I think Finessin did make the right call by going all in here with his turtles.
No, I guess we'll see. To me, it just looks like Finessin lost all his turtles. But you know, I'll keep an open mind. That's the thing about naval combat, it's really hard to judge. I don't have any confidence even when I say that I think Finessin lost all his turtles. Because really, it's just so hard to tell what the outcome will be, especially if you don't play it a lot. Yeah. Once again, I don't really like Finessin's handling of the left here. Mage will die.
He's kind of making the. It takes a certain amount of finesse and outmaneuvering to really deal with pikemen, and he's kind of making the classic mistakes that people do to pikemen ridiculously powerful, right? Like
just attack into the pikeman, then the pikeman steps aside, and the other pikeman attacks you. And
yeah,
downward spiral.
The classic mistakes. Yeah, I mean, I guess looking at this position more, I really do understand he built his archer because his logic is, well, there's a lot of pikemen here, there's a lot of harpies here. Archers are pretty against both of those, but the requirements for archers to be good against both those units is that they can be actually protected.
Right, they have to be safe first.
Yep. And well, Finessin does have groove now.
Oh, he does, you're right. I hadn't noticed that. But I don't think this groove will do anything, because
No, it's
Wolf of War is just keeping all his units clumped up.
Yep.
Wolf of War is actually taking away all the spots that Finessin would like to put his vines on.
Yeah, and I would say that Finessin doesn't have the army either to really say, okay, I'm gonna encircle and destroy your pikeman force.
Yeah.
Does not have that army, nowhere near that army.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he does after that mage hit, actually. He's gonna do about 50% here, or less than. Mage crit plus river is pretty effective, but I mean, he's gonna lose his mage here, which is his anti-air unit at the moment. That could be.
Are you
bad
talking
news.
about Finessin's mage?
Wolf of War's mage.
Oh. What is the mage? You mean the mage on the right?
The one that just hit Greenfinger.
Oh, okay,
Or you
mean
might
the
be
mage on the
desync.
left. Yeah. Yeah, I'm desync.
Might be a little late to start talking about this, but do you think that was a good use of Greenfinger ult on the left side?
On the left side. Okay, so I definitely think Greenfinger has one of the highest skill caps in the game. Like, you have to
Absolutely.
because his groove is a lot less direct than other grooves. This broadcast to inform you that Finessin lost all his turtles. Horrible. Okay, anyway, I think that was a pretty good use of it. Just cutting the enemy position in two like that. I have some theories on how to use Greenfinger. Basically, they mostly involve attacking the enemy and then trying to cut off reinforcements. So you can imagine if, say, you could split the enemy forces like that and then divide and conquer, basically. Like attack one half while the other half is unable to come to the first half's assistance. That could be a really good use of
And I'm actually just going to interrupt you because I'm noticing something really interesting is that Finessin has a perfect opportunity to do that right now. What he can do is, after killing that mage with his other units, is lock the other mage out, and this harpy is going to do horrible things to all of these pikemen here.
Oh, you're right.
That is an extremely good lineup.
And I do want to note, for viewers maybe unfamiliar with this, vines take the same damage as buildings would take. So regular buildings like villages and barracks, but they also benefit from terrain defense. So buildings, it doesn't matter whether they're on roads or plains, they always take the same damage. But with vines it's different. A vine on a forest will take much less damage than a vine on a river, for instance. And that could be really good now if Ooh.
I will correct you and say that buildings actually do benefit the terrain they're on. You can see dragons critting.
Yeah, okay.
Cities that are on
Okay,
roads.
so
Roads.
right, so but that's the only difference. Otherwise, every other unit always does the same damage.
Oh, that barrack skill is actually a pretty big deal.
Yeah. If Wolf, oh, you're right. Yeah, this is pretty big for Wolf, because if he can, Finessin recaptures it. Wolf can just keep neutralizing it again every turn.
Yeah, what it comes down to is throwing away that mage, and now he doesn't have the air force to deal with these harpies, which are
exactly
just terrorizing him.
Yep. Okay. Oh. Yeah. This looks pretty bad for Finessin. I'd be willing to call it a game at this point, because he just lost most of his naval.
I don't
barracks.
think the naval might not be as bad as it looks, because he's about to kill a bunch of turtles back, but yeah, no, I think you're right.
At least it's not like he has the advantage in naval anymore. It's questionable, but huge. There's no way for Finessin to deal with this push now, because remember we were saying the way for Finessin to deal with the push really was to use the barracks to constantly produce new units while chipping away at the invading force, but now it's just not possible because the barracks is dead. I'm gonna call it.
Yep, it's the game.
Great game by both players. Saw some interesting naval combat. Nice use of Green Finger's Groove by Wolf of War. That probably was the main thing.
I think that was the big decisive thing that really swung the game there. It did a good job. It let him really just get that corridor. And I did mention that theoretically you can win the land war even if you don't have naval by using that thin corridor, and he was able to actually make that happen. So kudos to him.
So people who are going to go play Lakeview later on in their future Swiss matches, what do you think they should learn from watching this match?
I think it's definitely really important to keep your naval unit count up, especially because this is a map with, say, 2 barracks and a port. You always want to be making something from the port, so that means you may have to not build as expensive units from the 2 barracks and the airport. Even if you just make a merfolk every turn from the port, that's still pretty good.
Yep, and I'd also toss in there that since it was clear that Finessin cared more about naval control than War of Wolf, is you gotta get the harpoon ships out early enough to really camp those towers, because that's an important part of the naval dominance strategy that I heavily subscribe to on that map. Is you control the naval, you control the air, and then the land is too slow to do anything about it. If you let them get to the air units, the harpies there, for example, were really big because they were able to use that side corridor extremely effectively. So I think that's one of the big takeaways is when you have the naval advantage and want to push it, you gotta lock down the towers ASAP.
Well, we won't keep you guys much longer for tonight. Again, this is Groove of War number 2. Thank you so much to our head TO, Skits, for putting this all together. Been doing a lot of work to get this tournament kicked off, taking a lot of great feedback, and I think he's put out a really awesome product for us to be able to stream. Doc, Zero, thank you guys so much for joining me on the caster's desk. Tomorrow we will have more matches for you. We have, I believe, 3 matches lined up. The first one, a stream favorite. Doc will take the field and then join the casting desk a little bit later. I'm excited for that match. We promise not to roast you too much this time, Doc. That much. But those matches will come tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to hit that follow button to get a notification when we go live. Doc, Zero, do either of you have any closing words as we call it for the first day of Swiss during Groove of War 2?
I'll just say that I am very excited to continue watching this tournament. The level of play is already much higher than the last tournament. People have learned, people have experimented, lots of new strategies, and the new format means we're seeing a lot of commanders that we didn't see in the first tournament, so the map pool is much more balanced and broad, so I think it's going to be a really interesting tournament to watch.
Zero, any last words for the stream?
I definitely echo Doc's sentiment, and I just want to say good luck to everyone who's participating.
So with that said, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.